cusp of Fedor's Bellator debut. Kind of talk about the feelings of this week.
Well, it's been exciting. I mean, to work, 6-8 months to get this fight together, and to finally have it, being fight week, all the excitement that goes with fight week, it's been a lot of fun, and I'm excited about the fight. I think it's going to be a great matchup.
Has the negotiations gone smoothly? I know that there was issues with him trying to work with the UFC, even the promotion that you used to have to do in Strikeforce. How is it this time around?
I mean, honestly, it's we kind of talked about a deal, and then we got some lawyers involved, and that's when it kind of got hung up. And then what happened was I honestly jumped on a call with Fedor. I said, Fedor, let's just get on a call. And we had a translator, Tanya, who was here with him, and we hammered it out in 45 minutes. It was really simple. It was just the translation issue, and I think some of the cultural issue and some of the language issue that was, I don't know, like we hired a lawyer in Russia to represent us, and it just kind of got hung up, and it took 3-4 months of that back and forth. But once we got through that and just really just started talking directly, 45 minutes later, we had the deal, and then we inked it within a couple of days.
I think the intriguing part of this, from a fan's point of view, is we don't know what version of Fedor we're going to see. Has the game caught up to him? You spent time around him for a big portion of his career. Just kind of feeling him out this week. What are you expecting to see out of Fedor?
I mean, I think he's excited. I think he trained hard. I mean, not that he didn't train hard for his other fights, but Matt's a big, tough kid, really athletic. I mean, people underestimate how athletic this guy is, and he's got a big punch. And I've always said, look, this is an even fight. To me, it's 50-50. It's going to be whoever gets there first. So, to me, I think Fedor's excited. I think that you'll see a great matchup on Saturday night. That's really what all I got to say.
I think the results will definitely dictate kind of what happens next. But are you envisioning this as a one-off, or are you thinking this is a multi-fight partnership with Fedor?
Well, we have a multi-fight deal in place, so we'll honor our deal, and I'm expecting that he's going to want to honor his deal. And I think we're going to be in the Fedor business for a while.
Do you feel like for heavyweights, you've got Fedor, you got Mitrione, and a couple others, are we going to start seeing a renaissance with the big men in Bellator?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the guys that we have under roster, and then when I look at the landscape of the heavyweight division, we're in the process of building some new guys. I think some really, really tough guys that will be the future of this company as far as the heavyweights, But, right now I think we're going through a transition period, and we're still doing, a little dance with Minikov, so we'll see what happens. But to me, this is our heavyweight fight. This is really the Bellator heavyweight championship fight. But it's there's not going to be a belt on the line, but honestly, it's a fight that everybody wanted to see.
For you, a lot of the fighters have talked about the personal relationships. Fedor, when you worked with them before, Josh Thompson. How are you able to use these relationships that you've had over the years in order to get these cards together for Bellator?
I mean, life is just about, business is about people, life is about people, and I think throughout the 31 years of being in the fight business, I've maintained good relationships with a lot of guys, and it's I don't know, it's just in my genetics to have a good relationship with these guys, because I'm a fan too. When they fight, I'm a fan. I mean, we've had so many great fights in this building, and it wasn't me fighting. I put it together, but it wasn't me fighting. So I have a lot of respect for these guys. When Frank Shamrock fought here, when Kung Lee fought here, Josh Thompson, Gilbert Melendez, all those guys that really, really helped build Strikeforce back in the day. I have a lot of respect for those guys, and I think that it shows in how I treat them and how we interact. So that's going to continue, because I'm still fans of these guys, and what they do is pretty amazing. And they're competing in martial arts at the highest level, and really it's pretty impressive.
Do you feel like the company's on a roll? You look around Twitter, people are like, I'm not sure of some of these fights. Now you look at it, this is one where I think everybody's going to cross over to want to see if the Twitter traffic's right.
I mean, if you look at the fights that we put on for the first, I don't know, like the Tito Ortiz fighting Chael, fight was a lot of fun, and we had a great time promoting that. This fight, the fight with Rampage versus King Mo, I think that's going to be a great matchup. And then Roy McDonald versus Paul Daly. I mean, those are some big fights right there, and on any level, on any standards. And to me, I feel like we're going to continue to provide big fights throughout the year, and I feel really good about where this company's headed.
Big names that everybody's asking about: Ryan Bader, Lorenz Larkin right now. It seems like they're almost signed, sealed, and delivered. Do you have any updates on those?
Yeah, you know what? We're still waiting for the response back. I mean, we sent in an offer, and I think they have a certain amount of days business days to respond. So we're still waiting for the response, and that's on Bader. On Lorenz, we're still talking. In fact, I might be talking to Audie later today. But the Bader situation really is we're just waiting for the response to see whether they're going to match it or not.
What do you see? I mean, as you map out the future of Bellator, homegrown talent versus free agents. I mean, you certainly see it across sports. You bring somebody in from the outside, you end up paying a little bit of a premium for it. It seems. So where do you see striking that balance?
I mean, I've always said we got to build the roster from the ground up. We have to do that. I mean, if we don't, we're going to be in a big whirlwind of trouble as far as having to sign free agents, and then free agents are more expensive. But to me, I always felt like, look, let's go get the free agents that we want, guys that can move the needle, guys that can put butts in seats, guys that make a difference internationally. Those are all parts of business that we're growing in. So, or how we generate income. So, to me, if a guy can move the needle internationally, let's be in business with him, or a girl. If they can move the needle here, at the gate, let's do it. If TV ratings, that's our core business. So if somebody can do that, then we're going to go after them and sign them. And I think that if you look at the guys that we signed last year, the 5 guys, I mean, Chael, Benson Henderson, Vanderlei Silva, Fedor Emelianenko. I mean, these are big names that make a difference, and they made a big difference in our company. And look at Rory fighting Paul McDonald. People are really excited about that. I'm excited about that fight. That fight's going to be it's going to be an amazing fight. I'm looking forward to it. But it goes back to the commitment. We sat down with Kevin Kay and Viacom. We said, look, what do you guys want to do? And they told me, they said, we want to put on big fights. And I said, okay, well then now we're on the same page, because that's what I want to do too. And they said, and I said, this is what it's going to take, and this is what's going to cost, and this is the investment that you're going to have to make. And they said, go for it.
You mentioned international. It's amazing to see how much international growth you've had this year, and it's been announced recently. I mean, do you see this as a global brand? Is that something that's just kind of popped up and it made sense, or do you feel like that's where you're chasing? Because obviously it does make operations a little bit more difficult as you're spreading across the globe.
Yeah, it is a little bit. It's a little bit harder because we're spread thin a little bit, but we are an international brand already. I mean, I think the work that we're doing in Europe is pretty amazing to see how fast we've grown over there. And I was telling Dave, when I first came on board 2.5 years ago, I think we were like in 60 or 70 countries. Now we're in 145 countries around the world. And there's the fighter component, which means you're looking for the next guy. That's how we found James Gallagher, and that's how we found other fighters that we want to bring in. But there's also Viacom owns Channel 5. Viacom owns Spike UK. Viacom owns Spike Hungary. They own Spike Australia. I mean, so they own these networks, and we're going to go and help them grow Bellator, and really our fight in Budapest. They're airing Bellator right now Thursdays and Saturdays from 10 to midnight all year long. So tremendous amount of programming. We're going to go out there, and we're going to bring them a Bellator show in April, and I think we're going to knock it out of the park. It's
such an interesting time in the sport. I mean, you're talking about growing the brand. I know you can't worry about what the UFC is doing, but do you see a day when Bellator is on par, with the UFC brand in terms of popularity and growth, or maybe even surpassing it?
I mean, you know what? It's like, look, that's an interesting question, because when I wake up every day, I don't even focus on what anybody else is doing. We have enough work here to focus on ourselves. But in saying that, I mean, look at the fighters that are coming over. And to me, it's like, free agency, I mean, the fighters are the key. They are the product at the end of the day. And we're going to go after every free agent that we can. So, when you say on par, I mean, I feel like we're already on par. I think we're putting on great fights. Our ratings speak for themselves. And, internationally, I think we're as strong or stronger than them in some territories. So, to me, I look at this as a global footprint, and I think we're doing extremely well.
Is there a difference between promoting a show like on a Friday or a Saturday? Because I know you do, like, a lot of the big shows have been on Saturdays of late.
Yeah, and I think that's because the territory, when you talk about doing a fight here in San Jose on a Friday night, or LA on a Friday night at 6 p.m., that's a tough ask, for anybody to get there, including myself. Yeah. So, we made a choice to do the big fights on the West Coast on Saturdays, but we will do big fights on the East Coast on Fridays, because now they have 3 more hours to get there, and I think you'll see that continue though on the West Coast.